Good evening, vinyl community. Excuse me, sorry about that. It's Rob here to do my entry for Beth at B-Side Records. She did a movie soundtrack tag. I've seen one or two people have a go at this, so I personally didn't think that I could do this, and there's still one or two I can't show, but I'm gonna go with it anyway, and we'll see how we go anyway. So okay, so first soundtrack you ever bought? That's this one. This is Mike Nichols' film, The Graduate soundtrack. Yeah, I was kind of getting into Simon and Garfunkel, I guess, probably through my mum and dad. I think my brother had the best of the '72 compilation, the greatest hits. So I was kind of aware of them, and I'd sort of heard few songs here and there. And then there was the film, not the film, the concert in Central Park that we had on video for a long time. It was recorded sort of off the telly. I think it was about 1981, something like that. Yeah, that got me very familiar with a lot of their songs. And then eventually I saw the film because my brother recorded it, and he was always watching it with his mates, and so yeah, I saw the film, love the movie, wonderful film, but I love the music almost as much, yeah, had to go out and buy this. So I think I was probably about 15, 16 when I bought this. I've never really been into soundtracks or bought them deliberately, buying music because I'd seen it in a film, but I made an exception with this because I really liked the songs, and I was getting into Simon Garfunkel. So yeah, that's The Graduate. Okay, latest soundtrack, most recent purchase. That's this one. This is the original soundtrack recording for the film version of West Side Story. Yeah, don't need to say anything about that. We all know that one. Soundtrack I listen to the most. This is one that Richard McCook's showed, but I have to say that this is certainly the soundtrack that I definitely listen to the most, because I absolutely love the film and the soundtrack in equal measure, and that's The Wicker Man, wonderful 1973 movie with Christopher Lee and Edward Woodward. Yeah, this is just an astonishing soundtrack. Music is just absolutely just beautiful, wonderfully ethereal, folky. The songs sound like they've been around forever. Wonderfully evocative music that just complements the film so well. And yeah, it's definitely one of the creepiest films ever made. Although I wouldn't really call it a horror, it's more like a thriller. It's sort of definitely tense, and it's sort of disturbing and beguiling, sort of all at the same time. And just very strange. A unique film, not like any other film I think that's ever been made. And wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah, superb stuff. That's definitely the one I'll probably listen to more than anything else. Favorite composer? I would say that's got to be the guy responsible for this, Ennio Morricone, of course. This is the soundtracks for Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. So obviously the first two films in Sergio Leone's wonderful spaghetti western trilogy. Yeah, I'm still looking for a decent copy of Good, the Bad and the Ugly to make up make up the three, even though the first two are on one album. But yeah, want to get more Morricone stuff. His stuff's wonderful and superb. Awesome movie, terrible soundtrack. Okay, well, this is certainly an awesome movie. I wouldn't say that the soundtrack is terrible, but it's not as good as the film. And this is the 1972 soundtrack for the film Deliverance. Yeah, this is just an incredible film. Again, like the Wicker Man, very disturbing, very weird, left field kind of film. Takes you on a journey, literally, as it does with the protagonists in this. But yeah, I mean the theme, dueling banjos, is obviously a classic and iconic for this film. But the rest of the soundtrack by this guy Eric Weisberg, I mean, it's all right. It's very kind of traditional, sort of bluegrass banjo stuff. Yeah, it's all right, but it doesn't really hold my attention that much. So I don't really revisit this album very much. But yeah, fantastic film anyway. Soundtrack better than the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's I've never really thought of this album as a soundtrack, more as a live album, but it is the soundtrack from the film, so I guess it does qualify to be in this. This is the Song Remains the Same, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, I mean, without doubt, the music is a million times better than the movie. The film's just kind of, I don't know, it's just weird. I mean, you think this was a band in their absolute heyday, biggest band on the planet, and they could have just done something so much more stylish and better than this. I mean, you've got all these kind of dream sequences at the start where they're kind of acting out their fantasies, and it's just not very, very well done. You know, it would have been, for me, much more interesting if it had had them perhaps being interviewed at their homes, or, you know, walking around their country estate or something like that. You know, would have sort of said far more about the individual members of the band. But yeah, I mean, the music's obviously speaks for itself. I mean, just wonderful, legendary band. But yeah, bit of a disappointing film, really. Song by favourite artist as a soundtrack on a soundtrack, and I think the remit is to show two here. Okay, so my first one is Bill Withers, and that's Who Is He and What Is He to You, and that's from the Jackie Brown soundtrack, follow-up, I think, to Pulp Fiction, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, there's some cracking stuff on that, but Bill Withers is definitely a favourite artist of mine. And then on we have the American Beauty soundtrack, and we've got The Seeker by The Who are definitely a favourite of mine. Yeah, fabulous soundtrack. Some really good stuff on here. You got Free, Eels, the Folk Implosion, Free to Go. I really like that. The Thomas Newman music's, you know, haunting. Such a pity about Kevin Spacey. What can you do? Soundtrack that everyone should own. Yeah, it's got to be this. I think everybody should own a copy of this. This is soundtrack to Quadrophenia by, of course, The Who. This is just phenomenal. I mean, I love the original 1973 album, which is obviously just all The Who, and it's the entire original Quadrophenia music and story. whereas as this is kind of abridged onto two sides, and it's kind of mixed in with a lot of the other music from the movie, but obviously songs that were very iconic for the movie and fitted in with the story, and certainly a lot of favourites of Pete Townshend's when he started off on here. But yeah, I mean, the music's just superb and it just rocks like nothing else, And yeah, I think everybody should at least listen to this, even if they don't own it. But yeah, fabulous. I'm sure most of you do anyway. And the last one is a Grail, so a soundtrack Grail. Yeah, I mean, there's a film that came out in 1984 called Mrs. Safel, which was a film with Diane Keaton and Mel Gibson, but I've never actually seen the movie. But I heard the main theme on one of those, I think it was Windham Hill samplers, Windham Hill records that were kind of big, that sort of new agey stuff, music, a lot of instrumental, sort of solo piano and guitar and so on, and wonderful, a lot of them, but very, very hard to get hold of now, certainly in the UK. I guess they'd probably be easier to get hold of in the US. But yeah, the theme to Mrs. Safel is beautiful. It's kind of got this wonderful piano motif, and then the strings kind of come in, and it's very moving, and then the sort of uilleann pipes, I think, sort of come in as well, and it's really lovely. So yeah, I'd like to have that on any music format that's going, CD or vinyl. So yeah, thanks guys. Quite a quick one. Thanks to Beth for putting this together, and yeah, I'll be back for another video, I guess, quite soon. Cheers, all the best, guys. Take care. Bye bye.